Okay. All right, so let's talk about that first half. Hoosiers down 4, 38-34. A nice job there. The final 8 minutes of the half as Indiana wins the second to last segment 12-8. They win the last segment 6-5, and so that helps them chop into that Butler lead. To Butler's credit, they really were able to kind of keep Indiana at arm's length, and every time Indiana kind of had a chance to chop into the lead, they didn't allow us to. They would make a big play. And right there at the end, if Romeo's able to hit that three instead of them calling him for that offensive foul, it's a 1-point game. And obviously the big turning point in the first half was Romeo getting going. Butler ended up leading by 11 at one point. I think that was their biggest lead. And at that point, I think Romeo had taken one shot, really wasn't going. By the end of the half, he finished with, how many points does Romeo have? Romeo has 7 points, has 4 rebounds, really did a nice job getting some rebounds. And obviously that was important for Indiana. Juwan Morgan with 18 points. Offensively, he just absolutely kept Indiana alive early, because there was nothing going on for Indiana offensively outside of dump it down inside to Juwan Morgan and let his beautiful footwork take over, or there later in the first half, Romeo get it, drive, get fouled, get something going to the basket. So, the biggest issue to me, especially through the first, 12, 14 minutes was, Butler was just kind of quicker getting to spots. They were tougher taking their space. They were tougher getting 50-50 balls. And I think in a game with razor-thin margins, a lot of times that is the margin. That is going to make the difference. And I thought Indiana really through the first 8 minutes just came out and looked like their feet were a little bit stuck in the mud. Like it almost looked like a post-Thanksgiving game, where you're a little bit sluggish. There were a couple times I think Romeo made a turnover and just kind of like lollygagged out of bounds and then didn't get back. Devontae did it a couple times, and that was just kind of the way the guys were playing. Everybody was just kind of a step slow. I thought, even Rob Finney, who usually doesn't do that, he got taken out early because he wasn't really doing the things he needed to do defensively. To his credit, I thought, a big key to Indiana there, coming back and keeping it a 4-point lead late there in the first half was Kamar Baldwin was really starting to eat Indiana up. And I thought Rob really came in and did a better job competing, being tough, beating him to spots. And I think that really helped Indiana to kind of control things there a little bit better offensively. So, it's I see a lot of the frustrated tweets coming in, and I'm frustrated too about the way we started the game. 5 turnovers in the first 6 minutes. We end the half with 9 turnovers. 3 guys have 2. That's obviously too many. That was something that Indiana needed to not have happen today. And Butler they have 5 turnovers, so they're beating us by 4 in the turnover margin. I thought the other thing is, from an offensive rebounding perspective, Butler has 7 of them, and they have 12 second chance points. And there was a possession there late where Evan Fitzner had a chance to get 2 offensive rebounds, and the Butler guy just looked like he kind of wanted it more. Was just tougher getting to it. Brunk ends up scoring on that possession. That's the kind of stuff that can't happen, and that's the kind of stuff that is happening to Indiana here. So, early they were overhelping a little bit off of shooters, not controlling dribblers. They cleaned up some of the defensive issues late there in the first half, and that was important, but you got to finish the possession. You got to get the rebound. So, look, I don't think it's a secret what Indiana needs to do here in the second half, and it's basically the stuff that Archie talked about in the pregame show. Offensively, you got to move the ball. You got to play inside out and try and get out in transition. Indiana has tried to play inside out going into Juwan. He's been great, but the ball hasn't been moving enough, and obviously the fact that Indiana hasn't been able to hit any outside shots, and Butler really doesn't have to respect them from out there. Well, Indiana is 2 for 8 from downtown. Finney and Morgan hit a couple of them. But they're going to have to get some more things going offensively. Let's run some pick and rolls with Romeo. Let's do some things maybe to get him going, because right now our offense seems very 1 or 2 dimensional, and so it would be nice to see some more happen there. And then from a defensive standpoint, again, got to be solid in the ball screen coverages, as Archie talked about. We've got to really be solid on their perimeter guys, and I thought we did that more toward the end of the first half. So look, if we can play more like we did the last 8 minutes than the first 12 minutes, I think we're going to be fine, and this is going to be a game that goes right down to the wire. But if Butler continues to be quicker getting to offensive rebounds and getting to loose balls and just doing some of those little Butler things, they're going to win this game. So I think the key for Indiana, I think – we talked before the season started that Indiana's going to win some games just because they have the two best players on the floor. And Kamar Baldwin's a terrific player, but I think we have the two best players on the floor here in Romeo and Juwan. And they kept Indiana afloat while no one else really did anything in the first half. So, that may be enough to keep Indiana close in this game. But for Indiana to win, I think a third guy is going to need to step up and provide something offensively, whether that's Rob, whether that's Al getting in there and doing something. He hasn't really done anything. Maybe it's Deron Davis, getting him some looks down low. If you can stagger he and Juwan some, I think that would really be helpful. And then defensively, just keep playing D like we did at the end of that first half and box out better. And we should be okay. But, certainly, some concerning play there, especially early in the first half. We'll have to see how Indiana comes out. Hopefully they come out with a different mentality here in the second half and can get this going. So just looking here at some of the comments in the chat. Yeah, Jeff, we have to play hungry. And I thought, we did. I'm not going to say that it necessarily sparked us, but after Zach McRoberts just, basically dove for that rebound, it felt like we got a little more hop in our step. Juwan started to get going a little bit more, and that kind of helped to turn things around a little bit. But we've just got to be better, stronger. I think what Rob did defensively there at the end of the first half, we need more of that from everybody. So we will see. But yeah, we'll be here on the post-game show. Ryan will be here. We might have a special guest. I'm not sure. That's kind of up in the air. But Ryan will be here. I'll be here. Look, I feel like I'm kind of saying similar things to what I said at halftime of the Louisville game, where they Louisville kind of came out and took it to us in the first half. Maybe something for the post-game show or for AC Radio next week is, why is this team kind of consistently getting off to slow starts now? Because it's definitely a theme. Penn State, Louisville, now. I mean, we are seeing some slow starts, and it even goes back further than that. So why is that? I don't know. But I do know that last Saturday we were able to turn it around after the slow start against Louisville and really picked it up in the second half. We did it here at the end of the first half. If we see more of the same at the end of the first half or in the second half that we saw at the end of the first half, we'll come back and win because, again, I think we have the two best players on the court. But if we're going to let Butler out-tough us and just kind of physical us and want this a little bit more, then they're going to win it. And so hopefully that's not the case, but we'll talk about it all on the post-game show. I look forward to it. So join us then. Thanks for joining me here for the Halftime Report, and we'll see you then. Cliff should get some minutes. I don't know about Cliff getting minutes in a game like this. We'll see. All right, I'm heading out. See you guys after the game.